Alright, it's Elise back here from Your Move Co. And today I have Nico over from New Zealand, but I'm not exactly sure where. So, Nico, if you could introduce yourself and just let everyone know how you became a coach in the health and fitness space.
Hey Elise, I'm glad I'm here. Thanks for having me. Um, well, uh, well, it's a long story, but I studied nutrition dietetics, and then I decided to become a coach. What I found is that all the other aspect of health were probably missed in the more scientific way. So I decided to learn more about the psychological aspects and environmental aspect in order to help more people and better. So that's why I decided to become a coach from Precision Nutrition 2 years ago. And so yeah, that's why I decided to become a coach.
And what sort of people gravitate towards you? Who do you specialize in?
Well, actually, I have like about 70% of my clients are women, um, 30 to 40 years old, and the rest are active people, men, and yeah, but normally gen pop, 70%, and women.
Yeah, I find that, I say that I train women only. I have one token male client that somehow, just somehow got through my stringent, screening process, but still wanted to train with me. So I do have one male client, but I do find that most of my clients are women. Do you find that women are a little bit more interested in the full bill of deep health and wanting more than just exercise and nutrition as a service?
Definitely, 100%. My male clients are probably clients that comes to me looking for specific diet or to build muscle, like specific thing, but probably they don't look at the other things. They don't pay attention, I would say, to the other things. And women, what I found is that they're more interested on changing the other aspects, and also learning more about what's going on with them in terms of around nutrition, exercise, stress, sleep, and everything, all the deep health dimensions. Yeah, that's what I found uh, like quite different between uh, males and females, and of course my approach it's towards change, like deep health and deep change, rather than just one specific thing. Of course, if I work with a client that is seeking a specific thing, I would work with that client, but I would try to introduce the other dimensions. That makes sense.
Just make sure everyone remembers what deep health is. We're looking at sleep, which is always the main thing I find. Stress management, feeling calm and relaxed, feeling supported by those around you and your community and your people, feeling supported by your environment where you live, where you work, feeling pain-free, and eating in a way which is conducive of your goals, or healthy eating. Now, when we think about those deep health measures, it makes a lot of sense. But I know for myself, I didn't really draw the dots until I did the PN course. I had been operating as a trainer for quite a long time and feeling like a big chunk was missing. So I feel like I was getting mixed results with clients, but I felt like I wasn't producing maybe that long-term permanent change that I was looking for. They were still relying on me, coming back to me every week, every month, as that kind of retainer. But really what I wanted to do was know that if they ever had to move or leave, that they had those tools to continue being able to take care of themselves. So I suppose what I'm asking here is, when did you really start to understand deep health? Was it when you were studying, or when it was PN? And how did that change the way that you operated and trained clients?
Good question. So I always tried before doing PN to work with clients and see them as a whole. When I was at uni, one of the psychological schools that I was most interested with was the Gestalt, which sees the person as a whole. As the present and how that person connects with others, the environment, and with like connect how that person connect with food and everything. So that really got me in, and from PN, what I found, it was like a connection with that, and a way of, okay, this, I like this because it's the way I was doing things. And also, and after doing PN, I learned more about this, because of course, at uni you learn all the scientific stuff, pathophysiology and all that, but probably you miss the the other things, the how to manage a consultation interview, or how to connect with your clients. Those are things that probably you don't learn in depth, and I learned that at PN.
Yeah, look, I have to agree. And this is going to turn into like a marketing of video for PN, but I feel the same way. Where I went to uni, I did a degree, I knew everything there was about public health, but there wasn't that aspect of how to treat the person and what their deepest needs really are. I was working in health promotion where we were just trying to get people to quit smoking, but what it ignored was that individualized approach and that behavioral aspect as to why people smoke in the first place, for example. So what I found with PN was that, it's technically it's a nutrition course, and I signed up because I wanted to get that nutrition and get that coaching in relation to nutrition knowledge and experience. But what I found, and what I'm not upset about, is that it's basically 90% psychology and behaviors and treating a person, not just about food. Food is the last part, to be honest. So yeah, I was quite surprised when we're training clients. What I'm always having to convince them, I suppose, or influence them, is that food is just a small part of what is a really big issue. So when you have a new client contact you and approach you, where do you start with them? And I'm assuming that nutrition may not be the first thing that you talk about, but maybe just take me through what a typical process is when you're starting with a new client.
Sure. Well, first of all, I start with a discovery call. So a 15-minute call to know more about, the this person, and know why really this person wants to change, and what is the purpose, the main purpose. And then I decide if I'm working with that person or not. And of course, at the beginning, I was doing the opposite. I was taking clients that, we ended up frustrating in both sides, because that client won't progress, and I was frustrated as well, because I really want to help this person. And the thing is, okay, so I was like, okay, I need to change this. So I decided to do this discovery call and see if we basically match. It's my client, it's really wants to change. Or it's just, okay, I find you online, or someone told me about you, so I decided to come. But there's no really purpose. It's not a strong why of a change. So the process is basically this first call, and then if I decide to work with this. If we are a good match, I decide to work with that person, and then from there I send a pre-consultation form. Basically, it's a Google form, where that person needs to fill the form, and and ask a lot of questions, not only about uh, food habits, but also habits around you know if that person smoke, alcohol, stress levels, sleep, quantity and quality, and like it's a massive form, and from there I start coaching this person. We have a 1 hour consultation, and from there uh, we see each other every 2 weeks. Sometimes it depends. Sometimes I see people every week, because some of them they need more support than others. But yeah, that's in a nutshell the process.
Assess where they're at with their deep health measures quite early. I assume that you probably identify what the most important parts are, and then that's probably where it leads you into the coaching relationship. Do you ever have a problem with somebody wondering where their meal plan is or where their exercise plan is really early on in their relationship?
Yes, yeah, several times. That's why I decided to start with this call, to identify if that person is looking only for a meal plan, or is looking another thing. So, and I'm very clear from the beginning that I am like, okay, I'm nutritionist, I'm dietitian, but I don't do meal plans. And the people sometimes they are like, huh? And that, yeah, it's something different, but I found this, uh, it's a better way to do things, instead of building a meal plan. And yeah, this happened before, that someone, when I was not doing the discovery call, someone was expecting, oh, where's my meal plan? And I was like, oh, there isn't a meal plan. And I was like, and how will I know how to eat, and what to eat? So, well, this is all about. I will teach you how to do it. I will give you tools, but will be your job to find out, um, how to choose food and what to do, and all the things. Yeah. So yeah, it happened several times. Yeah.
God, I don't think I'd be as nice. I think I would just tell them to open up their mouth and see what happens. Um, but I suppose, as we know, the nutritional coaching is going to be so much more powerful. It teaches people how to take care of themselves and how to do the right thing by them. I don't write meal plans. I don't prescribe meal plans. I'm not qualified to prescribe meal plans, and I would never want to tell somebody else exactly what to eat. If you've ever had to convince someone of why there's no meal plan, and successfully, and get them into changing their mindset about food and about the process of health coaching, have you done that successfully?
Yeah, I am doing 100%. Not doing meal plans. So what I do is, so yeah, like I got people that wanted a meal plan, and I explained that, hey, meal plans don't work, uh, and they're like, how come? Well, actually, it's because, if I give you something that you don't like, or like different times or whatever, probably they won't fit with your lifestyle, or you will find the meal plan, maybe it's not suitable for you, and you will ask me, okay, can I change this? And it will be like a back and forth, like losing days trying to figure it out. So that's why I decided not to do this, but uh, give the person like, things to think about, and food for me, like it's quite a secondary, because it's like I like to say it's a passive, fat loss, probably person comes to my consultation, wanting to lose weight, but I I am not, giving that person, like a meal plan to start with, and in order to lose weight. But what I like to do is to fix, or try to make this person more aware of the other aspects that will lead to a fat loss, like stress or sleep and all that, that it's always overlooked. And yeah, so I convinced several people that came to my consultation looking for a meal plan. I convinced them, hey, let's try this, okay? I know that you have previous, beliefs, but just, trust on me, trust on you, and let's start with like basic stuff, um, like even, I don't know, start eating slow, like like sometimes like how this gonna contribute to my fat loss. Okay, let's try this for 2 weeks, okay? And I can guarantee this gonna work, okay? And I say, okay, let's try. And then yeah, the person, oh, I can't believe I lost, 2 kilos and I'm sleeping better, and I can't believe it. It's basically because I start eating, more slow. Uh, so yeah.
Yeah, no, you highlight a really interesting point about the deep health measures where they often seem too simple or too obvious that clients think, oh no, like, my case, I've tried everything and it hasn't worked for me. It couldn't be something as simple as eating slower or, eating away from the television or, changing your nighttime routine to improve your sleep. Those small, seemingly simple things. I have sometimes I have clients who come to me who claim that they've never been good sleepers, or they can't remember the last time they slept for 7 to 9 hours. Therefore, they eliminate that as a factor because it's always been that way. But yeah, I just think it really drives home the importance of deep health, but also the conviction from a coach and from you, what you've shown is that you have the confidence, you're backed by deep health, and if a client is willing to give it a go and to maybe remove those kind of preconceptions and expectations of what they're looking for in a health coach, it's the cheapest. It's the cheapest solutions, it's the easiest solutions. It's solutions that don't interrupt a lot of your lifestyle that often are the best. So I find that really interesting. But yeah, it's really good to hear your confidence in promoting the deep health measures, even when you're coming up against a bit of resistance. But what I want to know now is, as coaches, we are these beacons of health and wellness. And, apparently we have our lives completely together and we've just hit our nutritional and physical peak. Our mental health is amazing. But, I don't know about you, but I know that's not true and that it takes a lot of work. Do you have your own journey into deep health where your deep health maybe wasn't so great? And what did you do to kind of move yourself into a better level of health?
People will think that, as a coaches, as a nutrition, we have all, it's all set. Like we exercise daily, we eat really good, and like it's all sort like we sleep good and all that, and that's not true. Definitely it's not true. I have a kid, so like he wakes up every night. So and for yeah, this being like an ongoing thing for 3 years. So but the thing is, like once you understand uh, what is better for you, you try to do at least, like even small stuff, even small daily stuff will contribute to take you, closer to, to your deep health, and and in the future a deep change. In my case, well, I've been doing I like I was, in like I moved countries. I started, my own business. I did things that I didn't like in the past, like working for someone else, and I wasn't happy. Even though like the money probably was good, but I decided no, this is not that I like. I'd rather do something that is more, gives me more value and more purpose than just pursuing money. Um, so I guess in my case, I found uh, what I was looking for, to help other people, and this is changing my life. So it's a rewarding thing because I can work with people, change people's life, and they're changing me. Um, and yeah, I don't exercise daily. I do that when I can, when I find a gap between my kid, my responsibilities, my work, my etc. So it's in also for my nutrition. Sometimes I have good and healthy stuff to eat, and sometimes I don't have that, and I have to eat what I have. And of course, the most important thing is to go back on track. And it won't be perfect. Just what I always tell my clients: hey, this is 1% better every day, small improvements. You can't change from one day to another. This take time. Change is something. I always bring the example of like when you become a teenager. Um, in Spanish, that word it's adolescente, which means adolecer means pain. So it's you go from one stage of your life to another, and that change means pain, and every change means a pain. It's something you're leaving behind. So yeah, it's something that I try to you know uh, walk myself the path, and in order to transmit, but when things uh, can be done like as an exercise or things like that, that's okay. You can do it next day, next week. That's okay. Life got in the way, and yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, all right. So you brought up two really, I think, important pillars of the deep health process here. The first one being, perfectionism and moving away from everything being perfect, because as we know, it just doesn't happen. And even as coaches ourselves, and I agree, I had a bacon and egg roll for breakfast this morning. In the wrong hands, somebody can look at somebody wearing a PT shirt and ordering a bacon and egg roll and say, oh, she's not very healthy. But I think the most important part, whether they're a health coach or whether they're an average person, is that it's all about what you do most of the time. And what you do most of the time is what matters the most. In our hectic lives and managing children and managing businesses, it's about that knowledge of deep health and knowing that it's not completely okay, but we know how to manage each of the steps. And I think that's a big difference is, I can wake up not feeling so great, maybe I'm a bit stressed, but I can acknowledge that I'm stressed and I've got the tools as to what should I do now to feel a little bit better. Even though I can't change maybe a stressful situation, I can feel better in this moment because I've got the tools. So I think that's what the big difference here is, our lives can be very similar to somebody else's who's coming to us for help. But we're managing ourselves potentially a little bit better, coming from a bit more experience, a bit more knowledge, a little bit more understanding of our own situations. And I suppose what my aim is to teach the clients the same thing so that they have that awareness, they have that education, so that they know that it's going to take some time, And in the meantime, they can feel a lot better about themselves while they're working on, gaining skills or losing weight or, changing the way that they do things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, I agree.
All right, so I got a couple more questions for you. And it may kind of just relate back to what we've just spoken about. But what do you think are some of the most important things that clients potentially don't understand when they start health coaching and need to understand when they're wanting to make a change? What's maybe the most important parts of making changes for their health?
Well, what I find a pattern is that clients, the most important thing is uh, a purpose. To have a purpose of why do you want to change, first of all, and then once you figure out that, it's it's a powerful thing that will lead you to understand and make real changes, and not starting something that you're not really sure, or you don't actually really want this. So what I like the most important, I will say, is to find your why you're doing this. And for example, I have a fresh thing in my head. um the One of my clients, I remember, he started um basically not knowing what actually he wanted to change. I mean, he came to lose weight, um but like he didn't know about why he wanted to change. And then when I asked him, what's your truly, what's your why do you want to change? And he was, okay, yeah, I would like to change, because I don't feel good with myself. Okay. And why is this? uh well, because um yeah, I don't know, I can't play with my kids. And why is this? Well, because I'm overweight, so in order to run with my kids, or climb the tree or whatever, I can't do that. And I see that frustrates me because it's something I want to do. And I was like, and I went deeper. And why? And because I want to enjoy, and I really want to be there for my kids. And then I went the last why. He started crying, and he said, I don't want to die, I want to be there for my kids. And that was the breakthrough moment when he actually realized that his actual um, um, moment, the actual purpose, was not only losing weight to, I don't know, to see himself better, to look better. Actually, was to be with his kids, to be, to be there for his kids. So yeah, it was a really good learning thing for both of us, because that's also changed my perspective on how to, how should I ask this more often. The 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 why do you want to do this? The main purpose.
Yeah, that's such a powerful part of the process and something that really needs to be established really early on. But now, for clients or anyone watching this video, now they know if they're kind of doing something, but they're not really sure why. If they're showing up to the gym, maybe, if they're either looking to lose weight or they're looking to tone up, either they're not seeing much results or they're not really sure where the end is. It's a really powerful question to ask, but what you really hammered down was, you ask why a few times and it gets to a pretty decent answer. You might want to just cut it there, like, oh yeah, for your kids. Yeah, cool. But, you got deeper and deeper, and that got to a really, hurtful place for that person. And we went from, the conscious mind, this gets a bit deep here. It went from the conscious mind, and then it started, the more you ask, it's like, if you've ever watched Get Smart, have you ever watched that TV show and he's going through all the doors? It's like finally getting to that last door and finally, let's call it, getting into the chamber of gold, where you get to that point where you really know that's the reason, it's probably their greatest fear. And, it's not a bad thing to be there. It's not a bad thing to get emotional about something that's quite important to you.
Yeah, definitely. Some clients we share that, and others don't. And I tried this before with like some clients that they won't allow me to to go there, and yeah, that's difficult, because probably you won't be able to connect with that client, and find the real purpose of their change, or why they're doing this. But yeah, it's quite it's a difficult, it's something I think you develop. It's a skill that you develop, like with more practice, and you find the ways of get to the point of this breakthrough moment.
Yeah, and it really goes back to, you talked about your process of onboarding clients, really making sure from the beginning, are they a fit, are they not, building that rapport. And then sometimes you'll know if somebody's more or less like an open book, whether they feel comfortable with you or whether they are going to be quite reserved and potentially, kind of like knocking against a brick wall for a really long time. Yeah, and for some people, they're just not ready for that change. They're not ready for that change to come from you. But yeah, it's just, I think it's really important for potential clients to know that, that coaching is a safe space, and that the more that we can get out of them, if they feel comfortable, or the more comfortable they can get with their coach, to be honest, the more results they're going to get, because we've already hit the nail on the head. We've already gotten to the final door, and then we can start working on, fixing what the real problem is, instead of only getting surface level or halfway. You mentioned, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Gestalt before, the Gestalt method. And I have come across it in the past, but I don't understand it well. Is that something that you can elaborate on?
Oh, Gestalt, yeah. So Gestalt, it's one of the psychology schools. So where this focus more like the person as a whole, no as a like separate parts, and this psychology school is different than the others. Like in nutrition, we use a lot of behavioral cognitive therapy, which is, it's the psychology of the process. It's like it's comparable to a computer, where there's a stimulus, there's a process, and there is an outcome. So in this psychology, it's kind of it's basically deep health or deep change, where you see the person as a whole, and not only as something like, for example, this person wants to lose weight, so some professional will just do that, will just focus on that, and they're not seeing the other things that are normally overlooked, like stress, emotions, relational, and all what comprises deep health. This psychology school is basically, what deep health, deep change is. So it's to see the person as a whole, what are the other dimensions that are overlooked, and what are the other dimensions that are affecting this person, and not only this person gain weight because was eating more. What's going on in the other dimensions? What's going on in your sleep? What's going on in relationship with others, community, like, environment, and like mental process. What are the previous conception of this person in regards of nutrition, in regards of coaching, and all that, and that's something really hard to talk with someone that comes to a consultation with previous, preconceptions, uh, and so that is why deep health, it's very important to understand what's going on with this person, and once this person change all the six dimensions, uh, will be ready to make changes to other people in communities, which like it's the change, but yeah, basically this psychology school, it's about that, to see the person as a whole, as a separate thing. So that's why I really love that, that psychology school, and also um, the cognitive school. It's something amazing to uh, explain to people, what's going on with them, why they're doing what they're doing, and like to basically teach them to get this awareness, and change this, in a conscious way.
Yeah, I mean, and as health coaches, nutrition coaches, whatever coaches we want to call ourselves, it turns out, maybe we're an everything coach and a life coach. Sometimes, we only see a client, I mean, like you said, maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. And the rest of the time is their responsibility. So, it's quite vital that they are just working on a multifaceted approach to their whole lives, because that does affect their health. And you pulled up the good point about when we address all those different parts of, what is deep health. From what I've found, and from what you've probably experienced with your clients, is that there is this really awesome snowball effect that can happen. So if somebody, my example always goes back to sleep. Like if somebody isn't getting really good sleep, then everything else just goes downhill. Their healthy eating is harder because they're seeking things, different foods and caffeine that will keep them awake, energy drinks, things that aren't conducive of their goals. They're probably also less motivated and less likely to, do the workout program or go to that class that they signed up to. And so their health starts to trend down. And this is kind of probably where they arrive on our doorstep. But in the inverse, if we can get them to, not just think about the main things, sleep and stress and healthy eating, but, those really, I think, quite niche, obscure parts of health, which I think, which people don't really understand, is the support in the relationships, but also the environmental support and pain. If they can bump up some of their main ones, sleep and stress, suddenly their pain disappears.
Yep.
Suddenly they're a little bit nicer to their partner, and their relationship is a little bit more forged and positive than what it was before. So then it starts to really snowball upwards. If they're working on their exercise, they're eating well, that still isn't always going to improve their health if their relationship just sucks and they're not feeling supported by their partner. Yeah. And the one that I want to discuss, which I don't think is touched on enough, is feeling supported by other people. So how would you define feeling supported by other people, and how does that appear in someone's health or lack of health?
Your family, friends has a huge impact on your health. That is why I always tell my clients, hey, tell someone about what you're doing. So, and sometimes they'll be like, okay, like they're probably lonely people, or have no friends, or whatever. So tell someone else. Um, Try to connect with people. This is very important, um, for you. And also sometimes, like, it could be positive or it could be negative. Um, I I have situations where the person, the partner of my client, will not help, in this journey. Instead, would do like the opposite. Would bring junk food to the house, or things like that. And this is very important. Like, not only like when we talk about environment, we talk about the people that surround us, and also nature. So going outside, environment. So this is very important, to tell someone else what you're doing, and probably get someone to support your journey. I got another example, like, this client uh, hated to go for a walk, but then talked to her flatmate, and then they started going for a walk together. And in that way, she changed the way she saw, the like walks as a boring thing, and instead she started doing more often. Um, and other example would be, it's quite funny. Uh, One of my clients, she had really bad sleep. Sorry. um, she will snore a lot, so her partner was really, annoyed with this. So when she started, losing weight and all this, of course she started, sleeping better. And since she lost weight, of course he reduced the snoring until, yeah, it disappeared. So that changed the improve, partners relationship, and that's part of the deep change, how your change goes beyond. It's more powerful than you, and it changed all those people's life, and that's a thing that people don't think it could help, you know and it's really powerful. It's quite, it's they get to that realization point where they are like, oh, I can't believe this changed my life. It's the least thing that I thought that would change my life will be to basically improve my sleep, or improve my, like doing, I don't know, 5 minutes workout a day. I feel better. I feel more motivated. I feel, well, that motivation is a word that I don't like it. Actually, it's overrated. But it's, things that people don't see that's gonna work. It actually, it's really powerful. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I always say motivation doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's
It's
overrated.
not real. But consequently, I think a really cool thing is when people improve their deep health, suddenly they're more motivated.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think the mechanics behind that is that they're sleeping better so that they have, the mental capacity to deal with more things in their day. You can call it motivation if you want, but I think you just got a good sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you made a really good point about the example of the client who wasn't really, let's call it, motivated to go for a walk, but suddenly changed their attitude when they figured out if they went with a friend, it was a lot more enjoyable. And it's that same thing, they're filling their cup, so to speak, with their relationships with others. And that relates a lot to the concept that I like to use is I talk with clients a lot about their values, what their top values are in life. And usually I like to know what their top 3 values are. And there are often things that may change and alter, year on year, or as they move through different life stages. But interestingly, if they can make a change that they want to do to improve their health, but have that change agree with one of their values, then it's so much easier to do. So my example there is, I've got a couple of clients that are very, very social beings, and they love going out for dinners and they love going out to parties. And they're often going to make time for them a lot more than they're going to make time for the exercise that they know that they need to do. And for a long time, they may have been stuck in that rut of choosing one over the other. And in a very similar circumstance, I convinced this person that, hey, like, can you just make that exercise a little bit more palatable by making it more social? She thought it was boring. So we found a way to agree with her values, but get the thing that she wanted to do. And it was a lot easier for her to stick with that and to continue doing that, the thing that she needed to do and the thing that she wanted to do together in one. So yeah, I think that's a really, again, once we get to know the clients, once we know them on a deeper level, health coaching is very specialized and it's very individual. So what works for me isn't going to work for somebody else, and involving them in that process. And you talked about getting them to choose how they want it to work and how they want it to look is obviously going to get them a lot further in them getting the results that they want and getting that independence and doing it long term. I think that's really interesting. Let me know if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, if they wanted to learn more about your business and kind of the way you run your business and what you believe in, like where would they go?
So I have my website, so it's staminahn.com. I have my Instagram, same is staminahn. Those are the main channels I use. So they can find, if they go to my website, there's a button where they can press to have this pre-consultation and find out that if we are a good match to work. And all the information about me, my qualifications, and what I do, and my approach are there. And of course, happy to have a call and to find out.
And so you're providing one-on-one online coaching services.
Yes.
And
so I provide one-on-one, and also I have developed a program, a 12-week program, where people found this really good way to find different stuff. This is an amazing program where I provide really good tools, educational content, and it's an amazing program that's been working really good for the past year. So there's the options are in my website, but what I do is I have two options: one-on-one or this 12-week program.
Cool. All right. Well, I will put the links to your website and Instagram up on this video as well. But it was so great talking with you, and we should do this again.
Thank you. Yeah, of course.